Number two, then go into the call text specifically to explain. Then address the practical issues around application, how to apply. So, and then any questions that you may have, questions and answers session. So that's it from my side. Just to welcome again and thanks for being there. And now I will hand over the floor to my colleague Domenico Ferrara.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, Miguel, for the introduction. So my name is Domenico Ferrara. I work in the cybersecurity and capacity building unit led by Miguel. So today, as Miguel explained, we're going to go through the policy background of cybersecurity certification, and then we will dive into the specificities of the CEF call. Before we start, just a housekeeping note. We would kindly ask you to post your questions, to keep your questions for the Q&A sessions and to switch off your camera, so to save some bandwidth. We will have plenty of time at the end of the presentation by Connect and Inea to answer your question, but just to run this meeting smoothly, we would prefer to focus on the presentation, and then we will keep an eye on the chat. So thank you very much for that. So without further ado, I would start with the policy context. Yeah, so basically the Cybersecurity Act, which entered into force in 2019, has established a cybersecurity certification framework. So the key principles that you can see in these slides are basically, basically the idea is to create a framework which will promote the emergence of a number of tailored schemes. These schemes are voluntary in nature, unless any mandatory requirement is specified in future EU national legislation. The scope is quite vast. It can cover ICT products, ICT services, and ICT processes. The framework also includes a very transparent and let's say very transparent governance process, and also very inclusive one. We have stakeholders both from the public side, but also from the private sector. As much as possible, the schemes of the framework should use international standards, and specificities and specific provisions related to issues such as recertification, vulnerability handling, provision of updates are dealt with in each scheme, so they are defined case by case. And also the framework is adheres to a risk-based approach. So we have envisaged 3 levels of assurance: basic, substantial, and high. So these are the key principles of the framework. I would like now to go through the what is the life cycle of a European certification scheme. So at the beginning of the process, we have the Union Rolling Work Program, which I will discuss with you in the next slide. So where we have the priorities for cybersecurity certification. This document has been written on the basis of the input of the SCCG, so the Stakeholder Certification Group, and the European Cybersecurity Certification Group. Once we have the priorities, the Commission basically initiates the process and can issue a request to prepare a scheme to ENISA. ENISA will take the mandate of preparing the scheme together with the experts gathered in a ad hoc working groups. So in a nutshell, whenever there is a request for a specific scheme, ENISA will prepare a candidate scheme with the support of experts of this ad hoc group. Then, once the ENISA has finished its work, we'll send back to the Commission a so-called draft candidate schemes that the Commission can then adopt or not by means of implementing act. And then there are all the rules related to maintenance and review of each scheme. So that's the process of establishment of a specific scheme. On the state of play, so as I said, the Cybersecurity Act has entered into force in June last year. So far, we have, as I said, we established the two groups, which have already met several times. We had established the stakeholder group back in July. We have over actually 50 participants, mostly from the private sector, but also public authorities such as the European Data Protection Board. While, as I said, the ECCG comprises of national certification authorities. For the moment, the Commission has already issued two requests for candidate schemes to ENISA. One concerns the so-called EU Common Criteria Scheme, which is basically should be seen as the successor of the SOGA-IS Mutual Recognition Agreement, which is an agreement that has been established back in the 90s, and it very much focused on the common criteria methodology, I would say. And then the cloud scheme. So in November last year, the Commission issued a second request. As I said, another group has already been established. And next year, we will have ideally candidate schemes for both the UCC and the cloud services scheme. In parallel to the work of ENISA, the Commission is also working on the Union Rolling Work Program. So this is a multi-annual, let's say, document which details what are the key principles and the key priorities in the area of certification. And the idea is to adopt this document by the end of 2020. So the SCCG and ECCG will have to issue formal opinion on this, on a draft Union Rolling Work Program before its official adoption by the Commission. And the key principle that have already been mentioned by the by stakeholders, but also expressed in the Cybersecurity Act, which the Union Rolling Work Program will reiterate, are the one that you see. So basically, the need of standardization in the area of certification, security by design, risk-based assurance, more efforts on international cooperation, and the need to have mutual recognition agreements with international parties, and most importantly, the need to ensure coherence among horizontal security requirements and vertical requirements that may arise from sectoral legislation. So that concludes the background information I wanted to give you on the on certification and the activities under the framework. Now let's dive into the CEF call. So basically, this is a call that comes from the CEF telecom calls for 2020. It is specific to cybersecurity, and it comprises of 5 objectives. Today, we are going to talk specifically about the objective 4, which is aiming to support cooperation and capacity building for cybersecurity certification. So it is basically, as Miguel said, is no longer a novelty because we have had a similar objective last year. And this year we decided to have it again because following the adoption of the Cybersecurity Act, there is a need for the stakeholders operating in the field of certification to increase capacities and increase cooperation. So that's why the overarching objective of the objective 4 are as follows. Basically, to increase capacity building of these constituencies of member states authority, but not only authorities, also to conformity assessment bodies, support the overall maturity level across the EU in such a technical area such as cybersecurity certification, and avoid risks such as the certification shopping, whereby um, certific some certification procedures might be less or more stringent according to the what is the conformity assessment running the text, for example. And overall, we put this objective in the call just to support the overall implementation of the Cybersecurity Act. As I said, as Miguel said, the deadline for submission is 5th of November, so there is still time to submit proposals. A little bit, let me say something more on the eligibility. So who can apply? We have basically three types of entities. So national cybersecurity certification authorities that are either officially designed as such or in the process of being designed. In order to, let's say, have assurance that these NCCAs or entities that are in the process of being designed can, or to enable them to still submit their proposal, we're asking to submit along with the proposal a letter of confirmation from a competent ministry. Another entity that may apply is a national accreditation body, which has been appointed pursuant to Regulation 765/2008. So these are basically as a result of this regulation, every member state has one national accreditation body, and given the role that accreditation has in the context of certification, this entity are also allowed to submit a proposal. And then we have conformity assessment body, which have been accredited by national accreditation bodies. So by doing that, we have enlarged the let's say the audience or the possible stakeholders that can apply to certification under Objective 4 compared to last year. Last year, it was only focused on NCCA. So only NCCA had the possibility to submit a proposal. And this year we have enlarged the eligibility. We have under this objective 1 million. And as you can see, I've also put links to the objective, to the proposals that have been funded through 2019 call. Just one thing that I forgot to say is that also for national accreditation body, we need, let's say, a confirmation that an attestation that they have been basically designed as the national accreditation body by a member state's authority. And for conformity assessment bodies, we also need some sort of self-declaration that they are accredited bodies. What kind of activities are we expecting to fund under Objective 4? So basically, the type of activities may include, but not be limited to the following. Basically, we want proposals that focus on building up the internal capabilities of the actors involved in cybersecurity certification. For example, this could be like activities focused on upskilling of staff or purchase of testing equipment, for example. We want activities that encourage cross-border exchange of best practices related to conformity assessment activities as a whole. And for these specific actions, we envisage as the list the participation of one national cybersecurity certification authorities. But other types of activity that we have thought about are aiming at developing and implementing efficient evaluation methods. So typically in the realm of certification, evaluation, we might encounter evaluation methods that are either lengthy or costly. So any proposal that would help to address these shortcomings would be, for example, let's say, worth funding under this objective. So I think that's the end of my presentation. I would now pass the floor over to Erika from INEA. So Erika, I stop my sharing and I will pass the floor to you. Erika, over to you.
Hope you can hear me and see the presentation.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So my name is Erika Magonara. I work at the Innovation Network Executive Agency, INEA, which is the agency in charge of the implementation of the code. And I'm here to give you a brief presentation about the application process and further information about how to fill in a proposal. I will just so in my presentation I will make reference to different documents. The presentation contains all the hyperlinks. But if you're very keen to look at them really as soon as possible, I will post them in the chat. So just let me put the presentation in the full screen.
Press F5.
Okay. So as I was saying, the objective of the presentation is to help you understand where to find what information and how to best use the information available. The point is that there is a lot of information on the code website. There are a lot of presentations. So the idea is just to give you, this should be a guide to the guidelines. In particular, I will take you through where to find the call documentation, how to understand the call for proposal, understand how to apply, and how to prepare the proposal, and most importantly, where to ask for help. So let's start with where the documentation can be found. Of course, it's on the call webpage. So all official documentation that you need is on the call webpage, which is our website. There you will find the call timeline, and I remind you here that the deadline is really close. It's on the 5th of November. You will find the work program, which is general for all the Connecting Your Facility funding program. So it's not only for cybersecurity. This is more of a general document that gives you an idea of the funding framework where this call for proposal locates itself. Then there is the call text, which is really the reference document. So if you decide to apply, this should be the starting point. The call text. I will dig into it later. In the call web page, you will find also the application forms, and I remind you here that you have to use the templates that have been provided. You will find also the additional documentation that you have to send together with the application. In particular, for the objective 4, which is the one of certification, you will find the self-declaration that is mandatory for CABs, and the confirmation letter that is mandatory for NCCAs, if they're not, if they're in the process of being identified. And then there's a lot of support material. So there is the guide for applicants, the FAQs that are frequently asked questions. There are more general and specific to this call, to the cybersecurity call. The model grant agreement, which is basically the contract that you will be signing if you are awarded a grant. I mean, you might want to look at it to understand what your obligations will be. And also very important, there is the recording of the info day that was given some time ago, which has a specific section on cybersecurity, if you really want to understand what the call is about. So this is a screenshot of the call web page. So again, a lot of information, but I suggest you start really from the call text. The call text is the call for proposal, in fact, and this brings me to the second part of the presentation. So why is the call text important? Well, because it tells you the objectives that are the objectives of the call, the priorities, the expected results, the eligibility criteria, the selection criteria, and the work criteria. What is that all about? So as Domenico was saying in his previous presentation, the objectives, the relevant. There are 4 objectives in the call. The relevant objective for certification is objective 4, support to cooperation and capacity building for cybersecurity certification. The proposals, the expected proposals are proposals that improve the capabilities and cooperation of cybersecurity certification stakeholders, and also it the call text refers to specific activities that this proposal should address. Again, the call for proposal talks about the eligibility criteria, which is what Domenico was saying before. So the proposals must include at least one NCCA or national accreditation body or conformity assessment body. And it also contains the award criteria, which are the criteria against which your proposal will be evaluated. I will talk about them a bit later, as this is an important part. So now that you know where to find the information, and assuming that you're interested, the question you might want to understand how to apply. So I would suggest you give a look at the guide for applicants. That gives you a lot of information on the evaluation process, on the selection procedure, on the work criteria, but also step-by-step instruction on how to put together an application, and includes instruction for the IT submission tool, which is Tentec. Again, I put an hyperlink in the presentation. I would be copy pasting later the hyperlink, the link in the chat. Now that you have read the call text, you read the guide for applicants, you are ready to prepare a proposal. So the proposal is composed by 4 parts, A, B, C, D. So part A is contains the essential administrative information on the proposed activities. So it contains, and the proposed activities, sorry. So it contains administrative information about the applicants, including signatures of the signature, their signature. So each applicant has to provide a signature. It also contains forms that need to be signed by the relevant member state if the applicant is not a member state. And also, this is the part where you should include the activities, what you really intend to do, which you might also see them as work packages. The activities, and you will have also to complement the activities with milestones and the breakdown of costs, and therefore also with the requested funding. The part B instead is basically a declaration confirming that you're not in a situation that would exclude you when applying for your funding. For example, if you're bankrupt. And it also the part which requests you to demonstrate your financial and operational capacity. If this part, public bodies are exempted from demonstrating their financial operational capacity, but anyway, public bodies have to complete and sign this form. So if you're a public body, don't forget to do it. Then there is Form C that is basically a one-pager where you have to declare that you will comply with the EU law on procurement, and where you give information about other sources of EU financing on the same type of activities you propose. And then there is Part D. Part D, together with Part A, is the core of the proposal. So I was telling you that Part A, apart from the administrative information, should contain the work packages that you propose, the milestone, and the cost. So this is part of the technical information on the activities you want to do. The other part should be contained in Part D of the application. Part D should be approximate, can have a maximum of 30 pages, and is divided into sections. Each section reflects the award criteria, which are basically the criteria that we will use to evaluate your proposal. Make sure that you address each point and sub-point, because in this way, when the evaluators will look at your proposal, they will know that each criterion has been addressed. So I've been talking for a while now about this award criteria, so you probably wonder what they are. So the proposal that you will submit is evaluated against these criteria: relevance, quality and efficient implementation, and impact and sustainability. Each criterion has sub-criteria, which are the ones outlined in the slide. So basically what will happen is that you will submit the proposals. If it is a proposal, if it is eligible, the evaluators will look at it and will evaluate it, asking themselves, is the proposal relevant? Meaning, is it aligned with the implementation objectives set out in the call? Is it aligned with EU national policies? Or they will ask themselves whether how is the quality and efficiency of the implementation of the activities you propose, whether the activities you propose are mature, whether the work plan you propose is coherent and effective, and so far and so forth. If you want to have more information about how these criteria are interpreted, you can go and look at the Info Day recording that gives more information on this point. So you have again, this presentation was just a guide to the guidelines. So I talked you through where to find the call documentation, where to find the call text, and what are the parts of the proposal. But should not this if this is not enough, there are frequently asked questions published on the website. There is an help desk, but beware that it will close on Thursday. So if you have questions, make sure that they will reach us by that date. There is, and then of course there is our website. So this is this is the end of my presentation. So now let's open. I would like to open the floor to questions. So if you want to ask a question, please don't hesitate to take the floor. Please present yourself, and also, if possible, write your question in the chat as well, so that we have a record. One more thing, just to remind you that this session is recorded and will be put online. And now I pass the floor to Domenico, who will moderate the question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Erica. So the floor is basically over to the participants. As Erica said, please, if you can post your question in the chat box, and then we will give you the floor, and you will have the possibility to elaborate your question and introduce yourself.
Domenico, yes, Monica, I have a suggestion. Now we received a question. Just to say that in case we have less questions, we can also use this then for networking, meaning that people who even don't have a question could introduce themselves. But in this case, we of course would stop the recording before turning over to networking. But now we receive some questions through the chat.
Okay, so let's get. Thank you very much, Monica, for the suggestion. Indeed, networking would be useful in the context of joining forces to submit proposals. So, first question from Kalyan Varma. I think it's pretty straightforward. What is the time frame of the project? Yeah, okay. So typically, the time frame of the project it can take 2 to 3 years. We have projects that on certification that have started, I think last year, and they will carry on for the next 2 years. I don't know if Erica wants to add anything here on the length of the projects.
So the call text indicates that the indicative duration of a project is 36 months, but it's an indicative duration, so it can be more or less than that. The point is that, as I was saying, you will be assessed on the coherence and effectiveness on the work plan. So you might, whatever is the time frame you want to adopt, make sure that that is sufficient or that it matches the activities that you propose.
Okay, thank you, Erica. So, quick question from Prabhu. When will the slide be distributed? So our plan is to set up a dedicated web page, as we did for last year, where we will post the recording of this webinar, and we will also post the slides. All the participants will receive the link to this webpage.
Yes, so we will follow up with an email after this presentation where we will provide this information. Just to say that I received from one participant also some questions which I think were just sent to me. So they are not yet visible. This is from Laurent Chichello. I don't know if I spelled correctly the name. Do you want to have the floor, Laurent, for your question? Otherwise, I can read it.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, please do read it.
Okay. So there was a question about the eligibility criteria. Does the letter of certification authority in Belgium has to be enlisted in the Belgium application?
Indeed, at public sector pace, in a coherent cooperation, we believe such letter will not be up to date and ready for the application. So would it be a criteria of eligibility that can be present during the project charter, clearly during the start of the project, but not strictly available at the date of the application?
Hi, Laurent. This is Eric. I think you also contacted our help desk. So,
yes.
If I understand correctly, you are referring. You would like to apply as NCCA.
As a public sector, yes, the NCCA has been enlisted last year, but in a coherent cooperation between the ministry and the Center Cybersecurity of Belgium, who is listening, by the way, a colleague of mine is present. We believe, due to strictly context of new government being enlisted, that we cannot have such document ready and signed before the end of the application.
When you talk about the document, you talk about which document?
The document enlisting the authorized body in Belgium.
Okay, this is a good point. Thanks for raising it, because actually the eligibility criterion is for NCCAs officially designated or in the process of being designated by a member state in line with the Cybersecurity Act. So if an NCCA is in process of being designated, it can provide a document, which is the one that is available on the call page, saying that a specific entity is in the process of being designated as NCCA. Of course, if that entity is awarded funding, by the time the funding, the award decision is taken, that entity has to be effectively an NCCA. So I think you could use this as a solution.
Thanks a lot. Clear. Thank you.
Okay, so there was also a question on the budget. What is the budget envisaged to be awarded to individual projects? So the overall budget for this objective is 1 million, as I said, and then basically during the evaluation will also be assessed the let's say the validity of the merit of each project, also in relation to the budget that they have requested. But I let Erica also complement on this point.
Thank you, Domenico, but I think you said it all in the sense that, as I was saying, for the time frame of the project, also for the budget, the same things apply. There are no fixed budget limitations for the proposals, but of course, what you propose, activities you propose, have to match with the budget you propose, and you will be evaluated on that. And I see a question on the percentage of UX support. Is the co-financing rate is a maximum of 75%.
Okay, thank you. There was a question from Vaclav regarding the project submitted last year. I think I have added in my slides the link to the selected project from last year, and I've posted it again in the chat further down. So we had 4 proposals overall and 3 selected for funding from Cyprus, Slovakia, and Belgium, and you can find the links both in my presentation that will be posted on the dedicated webpage and here in the chat. Let me try to see other questions.
Just to add that, of course, we only provide information about selected proposals, not about all proposals which then were not selected.
Yeah, indeed. So there is a question from Milan. What is the current situation regarding certification scheme for cybersecurity certification? Milan, would you like to take the floor to elaborate on this question? We have 2 requests of schemes, but if you want to elaborate, maybe you can take the floor.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you
Okay,
can
great.
shortly introduce yourself as well and your
Okay,
organization.
okay. So first of all, my name is Milan Svoboda. I'm represent the Czech National Accreditation Body, and and my position is a development manager for the field of product certification bodies, which are accredited according to 17065. And my question is from my point of view very simple, because generally this accreditation standard clearly says that there is no certification without the certification scheme. So I have to say I'm first time take a part on this meeting in this area. So maybe you discussed this issue before. Sorry for that. I wasn't the member of this discussion before. But I see some parallel from my technical point of view with certification according to Cyber Act security and the ADAS regulation, some similarity. But in the case of ADAS, each country developed so-called own scheme. I mean, national authority, relevant national authority cooperate mostly with the accreditation body and create some national scheme. So as far as I know, or I hope I'm not wrong, so in that case, ENISA prepares some certification scheme with which will be used by the all potential certification bodies. So I'm wrong or not?
So I think this is more of a policy question, if I'm not mistaken. So as I explained in my initial slides, so this CEF funding are related to so are aimed to facilitate the implementation of the Cybersecurity Act. Under the Cybersecurity Act, we have the so-called Cybersecurity Certification Framework, which basically has the main objective of reducing the fragmentation in the internal market regarding the emergence of national certification schemes, and to create common rules at European level on how to certify specific product, processes, and services. So far, so we have a process in place, and so far we have issued we as Commission have issued 2 requests to ENISA to create candidate certification schemes on cloud services and one related to common criteria. And each scheme will define the rules related to its governance, meaning accreditation rules, evaluation rules, and so on and so forth. So that's where we're coming from. And the aim of this call is to promote internal capacity building of the actors that will have to, let's say, will have to address or face the new reality brought about the cybersecurity framework. So to increase their capacity to carry out conformity assessment and, in particular, certification activities once the new schemes will be up and running. So I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, okay. Maybe just one little question. Is it possible somehow estimate very general when we can expect some first draft of these so-called schemes?
So yeah, so basically we have the EU common criteria scheme, which is at an advanced phase, and I would expect ENISA to send back to the Commission a draft scheme, I think beginning of next year, but so end of this year, beginning of next year. The timing is this one. The cloud,
Okay,
I think, will take a bit more time. Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Then I'm just going through the chat.
There was one question from Antonio, if the project has to involve more than one cup, or it can be just presented also by one cup alone.
Yeah. So yeah, a pretty straightforward answer. We also, as I mentioned in my presentation, at least one accredited CAB, it's already enough to submit a proposal. Of course, then if the project is about cross-border activities, then will be much better scored out of the evaluation if the participant or the submission is made by a consortium of actors, even better if placed in different member states.
So there are two more questions that I see. One is if it's also open to industries using certifications or contributing to evaluation certification standards, from Sylvie.
Let me see. So yeah, so industry involvement is, is envisaged, as I said, as long as industry is teaming up with one of the actors or bodies that I've mentioned, so NCCA, accreditation body, and accredited conformity assessment bodies. If industry and one of these body want to, join forces to submit a proposal, of course, this will be taken into account for potential funding. And of course, also in relation to evaluation methodologies, as I said, it's one of the area where we welcome specific, targeted proposal targeted to this particular to streamline this particular aspect of certification, that is evaluation.
There is another question from Václav. Can you see it, Domenico?
Just a moment, I'm having too many questions. Another question from
Václav Stupka, or maybe.
Okay, Braga, maybe you want to take the floor to elaborate on your question.
Do you hear me?
Yes, Vlakav. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, we are just now establishing the certification of conformity assessment body. And as far as I know, it is impossible to get it accredited without any certification scheme, right? So, and if I remember correctly, in the call, there is an information that only accredited certification assessment bodies are able to be part of the project. So what I wanted to ask is what happens when there is no certification scheme by August next year? Because if there is none, it is impossible for the conformity assessment body to get accredited, right?
Yeah. So if I understood your question, so basically you need to be an accredited CAB, not. That is enough to qualify for to as a possible applicant to the CEF call. So you don't have to have necessarily a scheme against which you are you are operating as a CAB, as long as you are, let's say, accredited by a national accreditation body.
Ah, okay, I see.
May I make a comment, Markéta Šilhavá?
Yes, please go ahead.
Just to reply to Mr. Václav Stupka, Czech Accreditation Institute or any other accreditation institute cannot provide you with accreditation unless there is accreditation scheme based on a certification scheme. So if you don't have an intention to become a certification body for different scheme, at this very moment you cannot become accredited certification body. It's not possible because in order to receive accreditation, you need scheme.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking, because there is, as far as I know, within the framework of certification according to Cybersecurity Act, that there are no schemes available yet, right? So it is impossible for us to get accredited.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if I may comment, that is very right. I think only those who are already accredited can apply. But apparently, if somebody does not have accreditation at this moment, it's not possible for them to apply. And for example, in the Czech Republic, there are 120 days from application to get the accreditation. So it's not possible from my point of view if you don't have accreditation.
Okay. Sorry, in the interest of time, I'm just try to pick one last question, perhaps.
May I just, before we go to the next one, because I think here the question was not yet fully answered. It seems to me a very important question. I propose that we follow up after the webinar with a more detailed answer that we will also distribute by email and publish in the FAQ. Domenico, what do you think?
Yes, it's a good point.
We will follow up on this particular issue regarding the certification and the scheme.
Yeah, the accreditation. Yeah.
Accreditation, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Maybe, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Milan Svoboda from the Czech Republic again. It looks that we have the personal Czech discussion, but as I mentioned in my question, yeah, that's very important to clearly set what will be the scheme for the certification, because as Mr. Stupka and Markéta says, we cannot accredit the CAP for the certification without the existing scheme, because the certification body must clearly says we would like to certify something according to some scheme, and the scheme define the procedures, how, what kind, and the links to the technical requirements, for example. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm asking for the scheme. Thank you. I'm sorry for interruption.
Okay, but I would suggest that we take this point for further internal reflection, and we will most probably come up with an answer to that.
So we will certainly publish a clear answer through the FAQ on this, and we'll keep you informed. I see two more questions. One is maybe linked to a question that we had earlier. What other types of organizations are envisaged to be eligible in the call, those supporting the NCCA? This was a question from Elkuden.
Yeah.
Rita or Domenico, who wants to answer?
So if I understood correctly, what are the types of organization are eligible? As I said, the NCCAs, of course, is one category, the national accreditation bodies, and accredited conformity assessment bodies. So these are the, at least, so proposal may be submitted where there is at least one of these body who's part of the consortium, or who's applying on its own.
Marketa Shilhava again, could you please clarify, just in case, could European Cooperation for Accreditation be applicant as it is cooperation according to European legislation, and it consists of national accreditation bodies? Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, so here on accreditation, we in the context we have mentioned that national accreditation bodies. So we put the reference to the 765 of 2008. So I don't think we have specified whether the European accreditation body can apply as an organization, and I would again take maybe this question for internal reflection, because it might be also interesting to see if such a body can also be eligible for funding.
Perhaps I can tell something. Here's Andreas Steinhorst from EA.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to clarify what EA will not apply for a call on a certification scheme under this call. So the issue is that I would expect that also our members, the national accreditation bodies, will not apply, because normally it's not our task to develop certification schemes. So that is up to the regulator, to other interested parties. What we are doing, of course, and especially in regard to the European Commission, we support the European Commission. We are evaluating schemes in order to make sure that the scheme is meeting all the requirements according to the harmonized standards. So that is one issue. And there was also the question in regard to accredited caps. I'm not sure that from our perspective, I think there are accredited caps, not, of course, under the Cybersecurity Act, but you have already mentioned, for instance, under the EIDS. So there are accredited caps, not for the specific one, but for other certification schemes. And I could imagine that those accredited caps could be eligible to provide a proposal.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, just going through the questions.
Question about an ETSI standard.
It's going to be the role of the ETSI. Not sure about this one. Maybe the Manuel wants to elaborate.
Manuel, would you take the floor and explain a bit the background of your question? Okay, we see it was already answered in a way. So if you feel that this was sufficient, we will not repeat it now. But of course, if you have another question, please feel free to post it in the chat.
Okay, I see other questions related to accreditation. So it really means that we need to bring more clarity on these aspects. It's also a good input for us.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay.
So it doesn't seem to be the case.
Okay, so I would thank all the participants for the input, and hopefully we have provided some good insights to encourage all of them, some of them, to participate in this call, and particularly submitting proposal for objective 4. If you need further information, you have both help desk still available and the INEA website, where you can find the recorded version of this webinar and all other information such as the call text and so on. And I would like to, without further ado, would like to thank you, all of you, for the for participation. And yes, I'll also let my colleagues to say some concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you. We will certainly follow up by tomorrow at the latest with an email with all the information. And we try to have this question about the accreditation and the scheme answered as soon as possible, hopefully by tomorrow, if not at the latest by the end of the week. And we ask you to further look into the text, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to also contact us after the webinar.
Yes, just to conclude, don't forget that the help desk will close on Thursday. So if you have questions, do not wait too long. Thank you, and good luck with your application.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.